So, today we have Smiley Guy in the blue corner and Cool Blade in the red. For game one, the 2019 Community Challenge, or for series one, and game one of that. So we've got Smiley Guy Babylonian, Cool Blade Kelp. And I'm just making sure they're ready to start. First game will be on Sheltered Pass, a fairly standard map. In fact, probably a little bit smaller than standard even. It's quite known for being really popular with spear play and just early aggression in general. Although the fact that it's quite, well, a sheltered path, it does tend to actually lead to longer games. And anyway, both players are ready to go, so now we're going to start. Alright, so in the top left hand corner, in the 11 o'clock position, I suppose, we've got Smiley Guy as the blue Babylonian, moving straight onto his hunt. He's actually pushing his scout straight around to look for more hunts rather than actually clear it with the scout. Being Babylonian, he can actually sort of get away with that, considering that he can always chase it with the ox cart. Meanwhile, down here in the bottom right, or in the 5 o'clock, 5:30 position, we've got Cool Blade, the red Celt, and he's cleared his hunt and looking to try and scout a second. Smiley's just picked up some cows. Yeah, Cool Blade taking his woodline. Smiley hasn't yet opted for an ox cart. So Smiley's coming down to scout. Cool Blade found a couple of sets of cows, but he's not actually found that fourth cow there. Hasn't opted to move that just yet. Probably just leaving that there to try and grab it with the scout later, or see if his opponent runs his scout by there. So Smiley has actually missed those. He's coming in, just scouting. So we have a look at what Smiley can see. He hasn't actually had a really good look at his production. He's just seen some cows come in. Can't actually see the hunt there. We'll go back over everyone. So Cool Blade's just opted to defend those, get all 4 of the cows this stage. Back here at home, Smiley's actually aging up. Neither player has actually opted for any stone, so we might see some early aggression from both players. Oh no, here we go. Smiley's actually looking at getting some stone. So Cool Blade's coming in with the scout, and he'll see the hunt. Actually missed the TC at this stage, but he knows it's probably going to be right there. Okay, hold on for a sec. Smiley just scouting up the mid-map at this stage as well. Back to Cool Blade. So Cool Blade has seen the town centre, seen a couple of cows there. I've actually seen... Here we go, he scouts the ziggurat, so now he knows that that's where that is. You can't actually see a barracks or anything at this stage. Right down here. So you can see the barracks. Cool Blade, yeah, has got that barracks up. Still only in age 1, but he's got the barracks, so he does have the aggression advantage at this stage, although Smiley does have the economic lead. Both accounts we're looking at 14 vills versus 14, so that's actually dead even. Cool Blade's pinching some cows here, but he's got to be a bit careful. If Smiley runs his scout back, he can pinch this, if he scouts with the villager. So he's got 2 spears in production, 2 out in the field. Taking his stone now. Got the houses he needs to actually age up, but he needs a little bit more food. Smiley's now throwing down the barracks. He's at 260 stone, so he just needs to really focus on getting his wood out, and he can get up that next town centre. Smiley has no idea this is coming just yet. Now he sees one of the spears and he's going to pinch these. All he knows is that there's a scout there and he's seen one spear. He's grabbed the cows and here's the other spears. So Smiley pulling back just in time, but he may lose this villager. He is going to lose the villager. And he's responding with a spear of his own, but he needs to get up some more spears because it's going to start looking very drastic for him at this stage. He's being pushed off the hunt. He's having to take the berries, and he's taking pickers, which is a bit of an investment, considering that being a Babs player, he can actually move straight back on there. Other civs, it's probably more advisable to look at taking pickers quite so early, especially when your opponent's got the unit advantage against you. The Coolblade is actually banking up quite a bit of wood. I think he's looking to just try and throw down that TC, just make sure he has the wood rather than overspending. So here's opting for a watchtower up here. This will probably be able to let him see the villager line, and he's got the spears here, so this is quite a nice position for him to be in. Although the stack TC is going to make it quite good for Smiley to be able to defend in this position. He's got a single spear there denying that hunt, so that's quite a good move. And he's moved these spears in. Smiley's responded very quickly, moving his own spears to guard. He does basically have a unit advantage if he moves in, considering he's got the TC and the villagers. Picks off that spearman. But Coolblade needs to hurry up and try and get this town centre down. He's got a grove, which means he can either get druids or use it as a macro grove, which is quite nice. But he does need to get that TC down quite quickly, otherwise Smiley is going to have a bit of an advantage there. Work accounts, we're looking at 21 each, so that's dead even. So he's opted for a couple of long swordsmen. I think he's going to start mixing in. Meanwhile, Smiley at this stage isn't really taking a lot. I mean, being forced back to the berries is going to slow down his food, so realistically, even though he's even in workers, in fact one ahead in workers, being forced back to the berries with that many probably puts him about a worker or two behind. And he's got villagers building this, no doubt, so that also forces him back as well. He's losing a lot of health in this town centre, but he is going to get it down eventually, I think. And it's going to cost Coolblade quite a fair few units. He really should have probably tried to pull them back before it finished up. But Coolblade still has these spears up here. Try and put that aggression up on the wood line. Taking his town centre of his own, which is about 66% done. The cow is there for Smiley to move back, but I'm sure he's probably a bit more worried about his macro in his base, which he is. He's taking some production facilities, so we've got a 1-1-1 coming out from the Avalonian player. Whereas the Celt, he's got the Grove Barracks. Quite a lot of villagers on gold, actually. So he's moving in with the bigger spear count, so he'll pick these off. He may pick this off as well. Do you see it? No, he doesn't actually see it. Doesn't know the scout or the watch post is actually up there, and he's not opting to try and take this back. Coolblade is just massing a fair few units here in the middle of the map, which Smiley's going to see. Some of them actually come across, but at this stage Smiley's just worrying about pumping out the villagers, which Coolblade also is doing, now that they've got both on the 2 TC, so it's 29 to 27 in the Vil counts. Oops. And Coolblade's actually running some units up here, I'm not quite sure why. Villagers. So he's opted for the druids, and throwing down another barracks. Smiley's going to try and take that wall, try and stop any harassment coming in from this side. Force Coolblade to try and have to engage through this path, or try and cut through around here. Both of these would be a bit harder to try and push harass through, whereas he can just feed spears through there as well, take advantage of basically a tri-lane pressure. So he's managed to pull the spears all the way back from the TCs, which is really nice. He's picking them off, he's got the druids and the long swordsmen, so they do an awful lot more damage in the infantry fight than the spears. But Smiley also has some archers and a lancer, which are all counters. But meanwhile, over here on the top side, Coolblade is opting for a tower. You don't often see this as non-Norse players at the moment, just because the ease of being able to do it off your infantry. So it is actually quite nice. It's good to see someone out there other than myself who's actually mucking around with towers on another civ. But here in the middle of the map, there's a couple of Lancers actually picking off Coolblade's army because he's pulled back. And he's worried about the Lancers actually coming through and dealing some more damage. But he didn't actually opt to surround and kill them. So they will patrol around the map along with the scout to try and see if Coolblade has expanded anywhere on the edge of the map, but it looks like he has really kept things locked down, kept things quite safe. He's even getting some guard towers at home to stop raids from being able to run through his base without a significant cost. So on the top side, he has got this tower finished, and it's going to force Smiley's workers to actually pull back. The population is actually in Smiley's favour at this stage. And down here, he's managing to force some villagers off the wood line at the second TC. He's going to might interrupt these, but I think he's just going to end up losing the Lancers or have to stream them out the long way. He's going to take a lot of the health off anyway. So he's going to get them out, but they are quite low. At this stage, he hasn't got the health regen tech pharmacology, which is how Babs actually get any form of healing before age 3. Whereas the Celts in age 2, they've got the Druids. So this wood line is well and truly denied. He doesn't want to be really trying to take this with only a small force that's got ranged units. If he's got like a full melee force and basically a strong enough one to take the tower, everyone except Greek, it's quite easy to take down a single tower. Just because basically you get around the underneath the tower, you can't really do much. But anyway, we've got a big force coming in here, looking to take the wood line, so it's going to be quite scary, although they are going to run around this way, and Smiley's actually going to see it. So this isn't very good for Coolblade. Smiley's going to be able to see this and respond without taking any damage on his villagers. Move his army in time. A couple of units of Coolblade's getting stuck there. So that long swordsman actually getting quite low. He's going to have to stop and be healed. Smiley's got a couple of Lancers over here. Scout over here just making sure that Coolblade's not moving anything out. But yeah, over here on the top side, we've got another guard tower coming out and a whole bunch of villagers from Smiley coming out to just make sure it can't go down. But this is quite precarious. He needs to be careful. He needs to move his army across, otherwise Coolblade is going to be able to catch him out here because he's going to get this other... Oh, he's just going for a watchtower. I would have just put another tower there. He does have the resources to do it. But anyway, he's going to catch all these villagers here. Well, it's not the greatest of paving, and a lot of them are going to get out. And he's going to take a fight here, and with the amount of archers here on Smiley's army, I'm not sure how things are going to go for Coolblade. He's going to have to back out here quickly, otherwise he's at risk of losing an awful lot. So, villager counts, we're looking at 57 to 44. Smiley's actually seeming to macro quite a bit more heavily than Coolblade, who's opting for the farms, and he isn't actually getting flour. So Coolblade has queued up an awful lot of infantry, which I'm not sure is such a good idea considering Smiley's comp is predominantly the bowman at this stage. And just as long as he's got just enough infantry to actually delay or deny the infantry from Coolblade and stop him from being overrun, he's going to straight up win the fight because they're the hard counter. He's still denying this top side, but yeah, like I said, the shield bearers have just walked straight underneath. They're not going to take any damage. And at this stage, Coolblade can't actually get back up to try and save that, but he is still denying this with just a single spear. Scouting over here. Smiley's still keeping those Lancers just there stationary. So we've got this force here from Coolblade, which is about 22, 23 units. But meanwhile over here, we've got a force of, yeah, about more in the upper 20s here from Smiley. So yeah, that's sort of where the population is. So we've got 62 v 48, so that's 14 plus, yeah, 5 or 6 more military. We do have some more druids coming out, more spearmen actually. I'm not sure if this is such a good choice. I understand they are quite cheap, but when you've got that much gold in the bank, you're probably just best off trying to get as much wood as possible and just trying to mass slingers and trying to get some more long swordsmen out, because unless your opponent's actually got an awful lot of cavalry, or you're actually really looking to micro the spears heavily. Although I suppose if he does split off some spears, he can put some pressure in here. But anyway, we see some gardens coming out from Smiley, and his age 3 is nearly complete. He's got enough stone to throw down his third TC. Coolblade, on the other hand, looks to be opting for just more of an aggressive approach. Oh no, he's already taking his third TC. What am I on about? How did I miss that? Crazy. Anyway, both players, well, Coolblade's actually ahead tech-wise, realistically. So both players are sort of have things going their way. Coolblade's got the third TC going up. Smiley's got the work account lead. Coolblade's actually taken the mid-map and might be able to catch some of these villages before Smiley's able to move in here. And he's still not really got an awful lot of slingers, which isn't the greatest, considering that his opponent has 26 bowmen now. So a lot of his infantry are just going to get picked off here. He's going to have to back off again before he loses everything. If he gets this third TC up in time, he does have half a chance here still. Smiley doesn't seem to be taking a third TC at this stage, and he's not actually being too proactive with that army of his. So we do see some woads actually slipping through here. A bit of damage here, and these bearers are still up there, sort of wasting their time actually. Now that there is a hole in there, there's no point really putting any more pressure on that. But he's going to be able to manipulate his opponent's army position here, just by sending these woads in and picking off a couple of workers, which is a nice little trade. He's able to max out behind that 120 pop versus 128, so things aren't as drastic as they were before. But Smiley seems to be churning out the upgrades at this stage, opting for his second tier of the melee defense upgrade, which is going to be quite significant against the Celt player, although he has really started to transition with the slingers. So he's got 22 to the 35 bowmen, and the slingers, well, they're the counter in that position. So just as long as he doesn't throw away his infantry here, he can do quite a bit of damage to Smiley's army, or even look at splitting it up, getting some spears and putting on the harass. He's age 3 now, so he does actually have access to cavalry. But Smiley's army's a little bit bigger, and he's fallen about 20 pop behind again. Doesn't really seem to be much in the way of raiding. There's just these hanging out over here. Smiley just trying to defend this gold mine, more so than anything, because at this stage he's not gaining gold from anything else other than that single gold mine. So he's really opting to defend that, but he's pushing. They've pushed straight into one another, and they've stacked straight on top of one another. Arrows flying absolutely everywhere. I can't really even tell what's going on here, but there's a really good surround here from Smiley, so to speak, that's come out of this, I think. And he did have that unit count advantage. So the slinger count's only 15. The bows, oh, they have dropped down to 13, which is quite big. But there is just too much cavalry here, I think, where the slingers aren't going to be quite so effective against them. So wow, Smiley's army really cleaned up Coolblade's then. But Coolblade is trying to force up this fortress as quick as he can. He's got a fair bit more in queue. He's just pushing out as much as he can at this stage. But it's going to get messy here because the fortress isn't quite done and there isn't really enough here to defend it. So if Smiley manages to micro all this well, he's going to be able to take this quite easily, I think. So yeah, the fortress falls. We're seeing villages start to go down as well. He's going to have to run them back in. He's defending with what little he has. Although I fear it might be too late. He's pushed into this little choke though, so that's not too good for Smiley. He's going to have to try and run units around. And this stables is going up. There's units still coming up. There's an awful lot still coming up for Coolblade, including an awful lot of villagers. So he's on 58 versus 66. So he's actually started to catch up to Smiley in terms of production, who's actually not queued up anything and is just banking an awful lot of resources. So he's got this big bank, but there's nothing really actually coming out on the field for him. He's just worrying about the fight at this stage. He's moving in the Lancers. And here we go. We've got Coolblade resigning, so that's game 1 to Smiley. GG. Alright guys, just be one sec. I'll worry about it in a sec. The scores thing. Yeah, alright, so it looks like Cool Blade's opting for equal footing for game 2. So I'll put Smiley on red this game, I think. Oh, yeah, there we go. Alright, so I'm picking up Smiley. Equal Blade. Alright, so next game, game 2, we're on equal footing. We've got the Greek v Greek matchup actually, a mirror. So yeah, I'm just making sure they're both ready, otherwise I can give them 5 minutes if they need. Alright guys, well I'm going to take a quick break. We'll only be about 3 minutes for a bathroom and smoke break, for not just myself. Yeah, then we're going to commence with game 2 with Cool Blade v Smiley Guy, and then after this, well, depending on how this goes, we might have a game 3. Otherwise, we're going to get stuck into Notorious v Vindicator. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really keen to see a rematch of those guys. They were the finalists in the low bracket for, well, the low garden for Gerda's Gauntlet, and it was a 3-2 to Vindicator's way. But the two of them have quite a bit of history. They're both in the CEST time zone, but neither of them are actually German. One's Austrian, one's South African. So they run into it, and I think they're both uni students. So yeah, they run into each other all day. But yeah, guys, I'll be like 2 minutes. like we're back in a minute or two. In fact, I'll just see what go is when they're ready to go. Coolblade said he was trying to pull a recon on Smiley. It's really nice, that tower though. Okay, well. Alright guys, well it looks like we're ready to roll. We've got a GVG on equal footing this time. We've got Smiley in the red and Coolblade in the blue. So this is game 2 of the best of 3. So we'll see if we are going to go to a third game decider or if this will be it. But considering the strats that Coolblade's pulling out, I'm actually a bit confident for him. So we've got Smiley starting in the red, Coolblade in the blue. And yeah, so that's a 6 o'clock for the blue with Coolblade, and 12 Smiley in the red. Both players just looking for a hunt. Smiley picking up a couple of cows. So I think he's just going to leave them until he actually either finds another set, which he will now, or finds a hunt. And while down here, Coolblade is also looking for a hunt, which he's found, and he's found some cows. So he's going to start clearing that hunt. Smiley's opted to pull all his cows back, but he's actually moving down here onto the hunt, leaving this 5th villager just gathering at this stage. Might use that to gather wood in a sec. Both players doing pretty much the same thing. 4 onto the hunt, the 5th villager. In Coolblade's case, being sent to gather the wood. 5th Smiley just staying on the berries. So, I think they're really both just going to try and find a second hunt, which Smiley already has. Coolblade's still just looking at this stage. So there's quite a short rush distance on this map. But it is quite a big map on the fringes, and unlike Sheltered, there's not the passes all through the middle to make walling off quite easy. So harassing this game might be a little bit even easier. I'm not quite sure who's actually just followed the stream, but thank you. So, ooh, Coolblade Scout taking out his opponent's wolf. Not too smart of a play there, because that's basically bleeding a bit of health to give your opponent a bit of an advantage in clearing out. And Smiley's already taken that forward hunt, so jumping onto that, leapfrogging onto that next, if he's in an aggressive position, is actually something that's not outside of the realm of possibility. Coolblade's come back here, he's found another hunt on this side finally. Smiley's already found basically 2 bonus hunts. Coolblade's only found the 1 at this stage, because I don't think that middle one really counts. It's on the other side of the map. But we've got Smiley pinching a couple of cows of Coolblades at this stage. He hasn't split them up though, so it's going to be quite easy for Coolblade just to come back and try and pick them back up again. Smiley hasn't actually pulled back his scout yet, but I mean it does still cost your opponent that bit of time. If they had been on the hunt straight away, it would be quite handy having those. But that gathering, he's going to probably want to throw down a storehouse soon. Either as soon as he ages, which, oh actually he already has. I think he's actually just going to rush straight off the 1 storehouse to, well, I'm not sure what he's doing. Coolblade, on the other hand, he's already got this barracks out. Not taking any stone himself, he's got another 200 wood just banked up. So both players are just banking up a bit of resources at the moment. I think they're just sort of figuring out what one another are doing first before they really delve into anything. I'm actually seeing any units queued up out of the barracks just yet. Coolblade hasn't actually teched up to age 2. So the stables is coming out from Smiley. Might see some interesting harass coming out with the Saris. Or he might even push for a quick age 3 and get prods out on the field, just because they're so useful. Because the Saris, as much as they are a good raiding and anti-ranged cavalry, and they're really good if you're quick enough to micro them, the prods are much easier just to run straight in and just assassinate enemy workers, enemy cavalry, and you know, if you've got enough you can take out ranged or non-spear infantry quite easily as well. So pick up these cows off his opponent's side of the map, Smiley, while Coolblade just missed them and is just looking at scouting out back over here again, make sure there's no proxies, and just see what else is out on this side of the map. So, Smiley just taking a house. Coolblade's actually housed at the moment, but he's going to rectify that. Actually, no, that's pretty much perfect. He pushes out this next spear. So, in terms of economic techs, Smiley's already got... Coolblade's already got the gathering... Sorry. Smiley's already got the gathering tech for his wood, and Coolblade hasn't actually opted for any eco techs just yet. And he is opting for that forward storehouse. He's got a Sari out. Coolblade's going to have to get off that soon and yeah, look at pushing onto the second himself, which he has. Smiley picking up some last couple of cows just out in the corner of the map. He's already got 4 in around his TC. Coolblade's already depleted his, but he's taking his second TC right on top of another stone line, which may work in his favour in longer games, but in quicker ones he probably would have wanted it to go on his second gold, or just have it properly stacked with the first. Smiley, on the other hand, is putting it near just wood and food, which is also probably a bit more advisable over just taking it with the stone. Meanwhile, down here we've got some spears coming out. They're taking out this hunt for Smiley. There's no more villagers on that hunt, so Smiley actually is getting no food at the moment. But he is trying to harass with these Saris. He's going to try and deny the wood line of Coolblade in response to this. But Coolblade has taken that storehouse. Right now, there's no actual hunt for Smiley, which is a bit dangerous for him. It's going to cost him a bit economically if his opponent can maintain hunts and he can't. So, the unit's coming back. One of these Saris is going to fall soon unless he can get them out. He'll get them out with that first one quite low, the second relatively unscathed. So, in terms of the worker counts, we've got 21 to 20. So, Coolblade's actually ahead in worker count here, ahead in score. He's got that TC up in a slightly less optimal place, but it seems to have worked out because it's come out a bit quicker. Smiley's sort of forced to have to take the berries at both TCs, whereas Coolblade's still just on the hunt. Right now Coolblade just seems to have a little bit more queued up. He's catching up in the eco upgrades now, because Smiley has the gold, the gold, the berries, and the wood tech, whereas Coolblade has wood and berries incoming. So we've got some Saris coming down here, just as a wall's coming up from Coolblade. So Smiley's got these Saris coming in, forcing a villager back in, but not really getting much, and losing in the lower Sari now. He will try and snipe this villager on the barracks, forcing it back, but he's going to have to get these out soon, otherwise he's just going to lose them, because there is a whole bunch of spearmen just here now. Watchtower just up there, just checking out 3 hunts at once on Smiley's side. That's actually a really, really nice hunt position for Smiley. He explains why he's got none over the other side of the map of his base. Other side of his base, on his side of the map, sorry. So Smiley's just going to try and pick off 1 or 2 last villagers here. He probably should have just kept up them attacking in that really low villager then, or got them out a little bit quicker. But anyway, he's throwing down another stables. He's got an archery range, some units pumping out there. Coolblade, by the look of it, just has the barracks and is getting a stables and an early academy. He hasn't actually finished off that barracks there, so anyway, down here at his wood line we've got Smiley running in and picking off another couple of workers, and the infantry aren't going to get there in time to save all of them. He's actually going to force a pullback from Coolblade. So right now we've got 34 to 34, an even worker count. So Smiley, as much as he's getting these little snipes, doesn't seem to actually be macroing up in terms of his villagers as well at home at the moment. But, I mean, I suppose if you are denying, at least, you kind of do get the mental edge over your opponent, because they're building shit that's dying, whereas, you know, you sort of are playing around the way that you wanted to play. But anyway, we've got a marker coming out here from Coolblade. And a reasonable, not perfect, but a reasonable market line. I mean, if he puts his third up here somewhere, that's actually going to be quite good. If he puts his third or his fourth over here, or over here. But anyway, we see some more Saris coming in, just as the tower's being thrown down, and they are going to be able to pick off a villager or two again. Maybe he needs to do one or two of these run-bys, I mean 2 or 3 of these run-bys at once or something. Because he is really sort of making a bit of wood. But he is going to get out again, with a low Sari. This stage has really just been this harass, while both players are sort of just sitting back, macroing up, trying to greed up. So we've actually got 8 cows around Smiley's TC. While Coolblade has just a little bit easier access to hunts within his base, but he's going to finally have finished off that second hunt. Just got some cows down here that he hasn't found. Probably should send a scout down through there. So, we've got Smiley massing up some units now. He's got 5 Saris, 6 Tox, a couple of Hypers. So, meanwhile down here with Coolblade's army, we've just got a bunch of Spears, a couple of Hypers. He's getting some Saris of his own now. And we're seeing a whole bunch of techs coming out from Smiley, who's actually getting Chisel and Plough. So he's probably looking at pushing into Age 3, taking that third TC quicker than his opponent. He's actually pushing out the farm tech, which is, I find a little bit weird considering he could clear this out. Does he actually know about all these? So he does know about all 3 hunts, but he is opting for the farms just because it's going to be more defendable. It's going to be quite easy for him to basically sit his villagers here, get a double TC fighter, save them. And he's just sending in some Saris, getting some scouting information, knowing sort of what his opponent's composition is and what the size is. So in terms of the actual populations, we've got 46 villagers and 60 total pop from Coolblade, 51 villagers and 80 total pop from Smiley. So those last couple of Sari run-bys have actually done a little bit more work than those first few. He's managed to pick off another couple of villagers and slow down his opponent's economy a little bit more. He's opting for another stable, so he's actually got 3 stables, an archery range, 3 archery ranges, sorry, and a barracks. Whereas his opponent has only got 2 barracks, 1 stable. 2 barracks, 2 stables. So he does actually have the production lead overall and the resource lead at this stage. We're not really seeing a lot of pressure come out from Coolblade at the moment. He really seems to just be taking up, but he's actually... Oh shit, I've completely missed his third TC, sorry. He's actually taken a quicker third TC, but for some reason he's down in the villages. I suppose that's because of all the pressure from the Saris. But at this stage he looks to have queued up just as much as his opponent. He's actually taking the conditioning tech to try and force out more units to make up for the fact that he doesn't have as much production. But here we go, he's losing an awful lot of units because he's streamed just straight past all the range of Smiley. And this is going to be quite bad for him, even though he's going to pick off some of these villages on this stone. Smiley's going to be able to take stone on this gold, sorry. Smiley's going to be able to take gold elsewhere and cleaned up. Dealing quite a bit of damage. Now Coolblade's 20 pop behind. Doesn't have a great deal of forces at home because he's only got basically 20 army supply versus almost 50 from Smiley, who's basically just parked just outside his base. So there's not going to be a lot of expansion coming out from Coolblade anytime soon. Not that that really matters. He's got some safe golds back here. He really just might need to grab the food from over here. But he is actually transitioning onto the farms himself as well. So all these Saris and a couple of promos, which is a nice sort of comp, but it's just, I don't think it's just not gonna be enough at this stage. He does really have the resources. He just needs more production facilities. But he is managing to pull his units back and then send them in sort of at the right time, picking off a whole bunch of infantry and a couple of ranged units from his opponent. So yeah, Coolblade's not doing too bad of a job to defend this, but he needs to make sure he doesn't get too far out here, otherwise he's going to bleed too many cavalry. He does lose another one and another pro that is only 20 health. So it's really only 1 or 2 hits even from the ranged units. And Smiley's wall positioning is a lot more aggressive. He seems to really have the map pressure at the moment. Smiley's advanced to silver now. I completely missed the fact that Coolblade had actually out-tech Smiley in age, but that would explain why he's really a bit down in terms of the eco and army supply gain. Although Coolblade has caught up in workers, he's losing an awful lot of units here. And these villagers here need to be pushed back onto something because they're not really doing anything at the moment. But there is no army actually at the moment, but there's a fortress coming out from Coolblade right on top of the TC, in between the two TCs, which is going to be nice, make it a little bit easier to defend. But he's going to have to make sure that he can hold out long enough for this to go down. It's at about 25% at the moment. And this tower in front of it's going to fall quite quickly. He's pulling more and more villagers from around his base, all off his farm lines, to try and get this up as quick as possible. And he's got his Saris sitting here just sort of wedged in, making off a couple of crucial picks on the infantry, although probably would get more damage out on the range. But the fortress has gone up, and he's got about 30 villagers just scattered around. Meanwhile, up here, we've got Smiley throwing down the siege workshop. And Smiley, yeah, the population lead is only about 30 now. So Coolblade has done what he can to defend this, but now he needs to do a little bit more to actually be able to push out of his base. Smiley's got a fair bit more in the bank at the moment, in terms of everything but really the wood. And he's a bit precariously positioned at the moment. He doesn't really know where his opponent's army is right now. And he knows he's a little bit behind, so... But Smiley's moving in. He's taking this house. Try and widen the population lead if you can. He doesn't really know if his opponent's sort of at max or not, but taking the house either way is going to be quite crucial, because if he kills units, then his opponent can't remax. So anyway, he's sort of got it called out here because this high Sari count is going to deal a lot of damage to these Toxers, because they are a strong counter to them. And they're just... I don't really know if there's enough spears here to really help him defend this, but meanwhile all this is going on, there's a siege workshop still finishing up, and a whole bunch of units just being massed up here. So with this resupply of units, I think Smiley will be able to push Coolblade back and re-solidify his position in the mid-map, get the siege workshop down, and be able to put a lot of pressure on his opponent even before they get to age 4. So we've got a pop lead of 25 to Smiley, and the worker count is also 9 in his favour. We've got 67 to 58. So this third TC now. Smiley a little bit slower economically in the third age actually. Not that it's really mattered. He's been putting some good pressure on his opponent, hemming him in. Coolblade, we really have to expand out to take either of these gold mines. He's really only had 2 inside here. Not an awful lot of food either. And Smiley's just taking more and more of the map, walling up all the mid, taking all the resources out of it that he feels that he safely can. But funnily enough, he's got these 3 hunts here that he still hasn't really moved on to. But anyway, we've got Coolblade moving in with an awful lot of Saris, awful lot of prods. So he's got 20 cavalry versus 11 on Smiley. But Smiley also has a whole bunch of Toxers, so that's really going to deny any infantry coming out from Coolblade, who really probably should look at getting out some archers of his own. And maybe look at being more proactive with those cavalry, because he's got an awful lot, and he can put a lot of pressure down here. There's an awful lot of villagers here, but yeah, for now I think he's just really content with just trying to hold at the moment. There are a lot more upgrades coming out on Smiley's side. He's got shield rim and chainmail, so that's a +1 defensive for both times. Coolblade on the other hand is just pumping out a whole bunch of units, and is, yeah, really just taking a bunch of caravans. I don't think Smiley's actually solidified a market line just yet, so yeah. Oh, he has, but he hasn't really actually got any. Here we go. So he's finally taking some caravans of his own. So despite being in the worker lead, and in terms of the fight, Smiley's actually behind on the market line, so that'll work in Coolblade's favour. Although he's really needed to have to, considering he's only got this one more gold mine that's safely defended. And there's no actual rams that have come out yet from Smiley. He's just moving his army in, try and get some harass off, keep his opponent busy, keep pushing him back. The watchtower here, just make sure he can deny everything. There's watchtowers all over the map. Watchtowers everywhere. So we see some Saris coming in. Oh no, they're going to get picked off. So realistically, Saris do counter the Toxers, but when you've got 14 attacking one at once, I don't think it really matters. I didn't even see Coolblade's message to read. I just realised Coolblade had actually messaged to read. Must have been early on though. I'll ask them at the end of this though. I missed that, like that's my bad. if they want to play out another game, I don't mind. But anyway, we've got both armies just struggling position. Smiley's just falling back to his workshop. He wants to make sure he can make use of that just as that ram is popping out. So he's going to try and snake this through Coolblade's army to be able to make use of it. Coolblade's throwing down a whole bunch of... Both players actually throwing down a whole bunch of unit upgrades. And the ram is just going to get caught here in this big wall of units from Coolblade. So we're just going to pick off that first ram for free. And there's not another one actually coming out from Smiley, so I think he's actually going to break this. And he's actually converted a couple of units with that priest. But now it's 5v4, so Smiley's actually maintained a big army lead here. But the first ram's been pushed back from Coolblade. But man, Coolblade really either needed a lot more Saris or to really get some Rangers out then, I think. Because he's always taking these fights a little bit behind in army supply. And the range units really seem to be where the difference is. And like, where the cavalry seems to make the difference, I think, is the Saris more so than the prods, because his opponent doesn't really have a lot of Saris. He's got a couple, but I mean, he's got 9, but he's got so many Toxes. And Smiley walling up more and more and more. So Coolblade doesn't actually know about the walling. Smiley doesn't know about the towers. But yeah, Smiley's got a really, really strong map position right now. It's going to be really hard for Coolblade to try and break out of this, although he does have a really nice farm count. A lot more than Smiley, although Smiley can move straight back onto these hunts in the middle. But Coolblade will be able to know too, so. Both players taking it quite slow, quite steady, quite carefully, but now they're actually having an engage right here in the middle of the map, so. This workshop, they seem to be fighting the battle of the workshop right now. All the cavalry of Coolblade seem to be really caught up trying to fight the infantry, which isn't really good. Smiley's archers getting tons of free hits off on both the cavalry and the infantry and just mopping up his army completely here. So the supply lead, well, holy, we're looking at about 60 supply difference almost. Yeah, that really went well for Smiley then. Coolblade's cavalry just went straight up the middle of the fight then, which wasn't good for him at all. Smiley's range being able to make use of that and just sit back and have his range pick off all the units for free then. And Smiley's pumping out combat expertise because he can do a big infantry fight behind this as well. And really try and break his opponent with infantry and rams, I think. But Coolblade, he's still not, he's down but he's not out still, so he's on 86. Versus 106 in terms of the worker counts, but he's still pushing out more whereas his opponent has stopped, so it won't be long he'll have caught up on that regard, but he needs to be very careful and make sure he doesn't under-defend here. Smiley on 4 TCs, Coolblade only on the 3s, so Coolblade really needs to try and catch up in this position, and he really needs to try and get that one last house down. He's on 175 instead of 180 pop. He's been hemmed in quite heavily. Smiley taking a side fortress here, maybe try and get some Palantonons out. But there is actually a workshop here for Coolblade. Try and also sneak through here. But with the villagers and the fact that it's alone, I'm not sure if he's really going to be able to do much with this. And there are prods coming out, which is really the best thing to really be picking off rams with. So the supply lead, we're looking at 175 for Coolblade and 200 for Smiley. But he is going to lose these prods. Take out a couple of towers. Well, take out one of the towers, just some damage on the other, but he's going to lose his prods. A couple of cavalry might fall here for Coolblade as well. Oh no, he's really getting them out. They are quite low, and Coolblade doesn't really have much in the way of... Oh, what? Has he... Oh, I didn't even realise there's a Palantonon here that's laying waste to everything. All of Coolblade's defences. Smiley guy with a really good army position right now with his siege just raining down upon Coolblade's base. And the army is just getting picked off for Coolblade again and again. These archers for Smiley are just putting in the work. The cavalry just don't seem to be able to get to them. And I think that's going to be game. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm just going to sort this out with Coolblade, just make sure he's alright with that game, because he did actually ask for the rematch. But I think he's going to be okay with it. And from what I could see, both of them went on to that first hunt around the same sort of time. Well, guys, it looks like they're alright with doing a third game, so I think I might actually swap the colours over. Ah, it looks like Smiley's going to have to go. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. It's been a pretty awesome series to cast. And we're going to have Vindicator and Notorious coming up next, very shortly. I'm going to try and get that started probably in about 10 minutes. Looks like Smiley can't play out a third game, unfortunately, even though it's a 2-0, like, it's a show match, it's not a tournament. I'm happy to just, cast another game or two if the guys are willing to play it out, so yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll have things running very shortly again.